Get this bar to match it. Get it up there. Your kids want to please you. They don't want to disappoint you. Raise your bar. Then my board member told me, she goes, Shelley, it's not realistic to expect these kids to wait. They don't wait for schmutz. Microwave's not fast enough. The laptop's not fast enough. It's not fast. And I get that. I totally get that. I said, you know what? You're right. What's the average age for first-time intercourse for high school kids in this nation? What is it? Anybody got an idea? 17.4 if you're a girl, 17.2 if you're a boy. Yay! I'll bet in your mind you're thinking it's really low. They're starting to have sex at 13, 14, 15. Some kids are, but the national average is 17. I want them to wait until marriage, but you know what? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It took us 30 years to get in this mess. It's going to take us a while to get out. But you're here, and you know what? Your kid dates his kid, and your kid dates her kid, and your kid dates his kid. We're all in this together. We got to raise this bar for the culture. When we teach kids why they should wait, how they should wait, and give them support for waiting, the research says these kids are waiting. More kids are delaying sex now than have delayed in the last 30 years. You guys, when the teen pregnancy stats come out, they wrap in college kids because Obamacare goes to age 26 now. Those are still considered teenagers. 80% of teen pregnancy is 19 to 26-year-olds. 20% is that middle school, high school group. You're doing a good job of parenting. Kids are delaying in middle school and high school, but it's when they get off on their own to college or live independently, they have no accountability. You're not there with the covering anymore. They're drinking, they're getting high, and they're having sex. Dr. Joe McElhaney from the Medical Institute for Sexual Health just told us 80% of sexually active college girls have HPV, human papillomavirus, or genital warts. 80%. Where'd the girls get them? From the boys. Where'd the boys get them? From other girls. Are you with me? We're just passing this stuff around on college campuses right now. This is big stuff. Big stuff. When I was growing up, there were 2 sexually transmitted diseases. Killed them both. Treated them, cured them. Get a pill, get a shot. They're done. Now our kids have 28 plus sexually transmitted diseases. 4 of them are viruses. What do you know about a virus? There is no cure. All 4 viruses start with the letter H. What are they? HIV, HPV, hepatitis, and herpes. 3 of those diseases can lead to our kids' death. Herpes is the only one that doesn't kill them, but it is the gift that keeps on giving. Get your bar up. You know, in the 1980s, remember the Southern Baptist Convention? They taught kids that True Love Waits campaign. All those kids signed that pledge. Well, they found out only 26% of the kids made it to the altar as virgins. So they interviewed them. They said, how come? Well, we knew why to not have sex because God said so. And they could quote scripture about why God said so. But you know what? When they're in the front seat of the car making out with their boyfriend and their shirts around their nose, they didn't know how. Just like those girls that sat here this morning. We don't know how. Can you tell us how? See, the church does a good job of why. Christian school does a good job of why. Nobody's teaching how. I teach how. You need to teach how. You are your kids' prefrontal cortex. See, our kids are not getting their adult brain until they're 25 and older. They look like adults, but ain't nobody home up here. They don't have common sense. I love you if you're young in here, I'm sorry, but it's true. The statistics prove it. You know, I heard Dr. David Walsh, he wrote the book, Why Do They Act That Way? When our kids goof up and you go, now why'd you do that? And they go, I don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They can't bubble it out of their mouth. They don't have the reasoning up here. See, prefrontal cortex helps our kids plan. It helps our kids make decisions for their future. You can ask a senior in high school. I remember we're having our graduation party. Remember, Linz? Sam is here. Sam, do you remember? I'm going to tell a story about you right now. I love you. I remember Lee Campbell went up to you and said, Sam, what are you going to do after graduation? And Sam went, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm just hosting this party for you, and you don't know what he didn't know. And now he's a very successful barber, went off to barber college, is making a lot of money and doing really, really well, and yay, it all comes together. But I'm telling you, there's times where you just go, okay, but they can do this thing. Sam, I'm going to tell another story, okay? I have permission. With the How piece, I remember Sam was in a spring musical or spring play in high school, and he always wanted to be Brad Pitt, so he's an athlete and he was an actor, and he kind of looks like him, yeah, handsome. And so one night he's late from practice, and I'm doing this when he walks in. I'm like, hey, buddy, where were you? Why didn't you call me and tell me you're going to be late? And he said, Mom, I had to take Chelsea home. And I'm like, Chelsea, there's 2 Chelseas in the play this spring. Which Chelsea? And Sam was older at the time, and he goes, this one. And I said, excuse me? There's another way for you to describe her. And he goes, well, Mom, I knew if I did that, you'd know which Chelsea it was. And I did. Little blonde, busty Chelsea. So now, mind you, I've been doing this gig for 20 years, right? So my kids have heard this forever. And so I said, Sam, what happened? Now, Sam's heard this forever. Stranger space is arms apart. Friendship space is elbow length apart. Lover space is close. So I said, Sam, how'd it go? And he goes, Mom, Chelsea put her hand on my leg all the way to her house. My kid's making sperm. He's a sperm factory, right? She's this blonde bomber stroking his thigh. I'm like, okay, I've got to be his prefrontal cortex. Help me here. So I run into the dining room. I get 2 chairs. I don't know if you remember this, but I get 2 chairs, and I sat on the right side, and I said, Sam, sit down and drive. And you looked at me and you went, Mom, are we doing one of your stupid role plays? I'm like, sit down and drive. You guys, I take lots of self-esteem classes because my kids told me I was so stupid growing up. But you know what? I don't care. They don't have to like me till they're 30. And now they love me. They love me and I love them. So I remember, I said, Sam, when Chelsea puts her hand on your leg, because if she's touched you once, she's going to touch you again, because wherever the last date with Chelsea ends, the next date with Chelsea begins. So I said, when she puts her hand on your lap, you take her hand, you put it back on her lap, and you pat it, and you shift your truck. I said, you're being kind to her, you're caring for her, and you're comforting. You're not looking at her and going, Chelsea, get your hand off of me. I don't want my son to be rude to her, but I want him to set a healthy boundary. You guys, this is the most sexually aggressive group of high school girls we've ever raised. The research is not good on our girls. It's amazing on our boys. This is the most honorable group of boys we've ever seen. The most respect and the most honor to girls. They want to honor girls and the girls won't let them. The girls are calling boys first, they're texting boys first, they're touching them first, they're kissing them first, they're putting their hands in their pants first, they're buying them gifts, they're asking them out, they're acting like the boy. And I told the girls today, girls, it's not your job. It's a boy's job. God gave men testosterone, that's the pursue hormone. God gave men the body part that pursues. I said, you don't have that part. You have the part that receives. Do your job. But our girls are desperate. This is a desperate generation. And I asked the researcher, I said, Dr. Stanley, why? What's happened to our girls? And he said 2 words, Daddy left. This is the first generation of girls that's been raised primarily without their biological father. Maybe dad got mom pregnant and never married mom. So she's never known her biological dad. Maybe they're divorced and mom and dad are married to other people, so she doesn't get to be with her dad very often. Maybe dad died. Maybe dad's in prison. Maybe dad's home, but he's never home. He's always at the office. He's always on the road. He's always in the field. He's always on the phone. He's always on his laptop. He's always watching ESPN. He's never with her. And now we have a generation of girls looking for 2 things. Daddy love. They're looking for their daddy love. 71% of girls that made a baby last year in this nation, the father of that baby was 21 or older. That's illegal in this state. That's illegal in every state. And I always tell girls, there is a reason a 21-year-old would date you. It's because no one his own age will date him. He's a loser. Girls don't want to hear that. They're flattered by an older guy's attention. I got chased out of a gym in Nebraska. Ashland, Nebraska. Sophomore girls all circle me at the end of the assembly and they go, you're so mean. She goes, I'm 15 and my boyfriend's 21 and he loves me. He just bought me a cell phone. I said, wow, I wish that cell phone was about love. I wish he was leaving you loving voicemail messages and loving text messages. I said he's not. He wants to know where you are and who you're with. It's about power and control with an older man and a younger woman. I said, this man's not good for you. You need to break up with him. She goes, well, you're still mean. She turned around and walked away. But you know what? That girl can never say she didn't hear me. She can only say she didn't listen. Even parents get flattered by that. Oh, my freshman daughter got invited to homecoming by the senior. No, don't do that to your daughter. The research says you don't let your kids hang out with each other under the age of 16. If they don't drive, they don't date. And I don't mean farm driving and, ranch driving, because I know what you guys do, but I'm talking highway driving, legal driving. There's something magic about the age of 16. If you tell your kids to wait until 16, good for you. Because the research says when our kids start dating under the age of 16, they'll have sex at a much younger age and they'll have many more partners before they get married. Right now, the average number of sex partners for our kids is 6 before marriage. That's average. And I asked the kids today, I wish you could have heard it. I said, girls, do you want to marry a guy that slept with 6 women before you? No. Men, do you want to marry a woman that slept with 6 guys before you? No. I said, do you hear each other? Both of you don't want multiple partners. God wants you to have one. Because you know what? All these partners have partners too. And it's not 6 times 6 is 36. Because they all have multiple partners. When you do the exponential math, when you go to a public health department, it'll say sexual exposure chart. When you have 6 partners, you do the multiplication, it comes out to 61 potential sets of germs. 61 people that you could bring their STD germs to your marriage bed someday. Because germs don't care. They're no respecter of persons. Soul ties don't care. Our kids are having sex with everybody they've had sex with. We don't want that for our kids. And something amazing happens. God made it that way. I need a healthy male volunteer. Who will help me? Do we have a healthy male volunteer? Todd, will you help me? Great, thanks for being there. I'll come be with you. I did this with your kids today. I want you to see this. Will you take your jacket off, please? Thank you. Pretend Todd's in high school, okay? We gotta stand back here for the camera. So Todd, here's your girlfriend. What do you think? She's kind of tall. She's kind of thin. She's pretty transparent with her. Look at her curves, Todd. Nice curves. Well, you're gonna have sex with her right here in front of us, so I need you to get naked on your arm.
Okay.
Look at how eager he is.
In church.
There you go, in church. Okay, so here we are. Todd's having sex. Pretend. Because tape is a bonding agent. God made sex for 6 reasons. One's procreation, one's pleasure, one's bonding. He's bonding to the girl. She's bonding to him. And it's a pretty good bond. You see what I'm doing the whole time? He's squirming. And I'm just bond. If this guy's in high school, could he marry this girl someday? Could he marry her? Will he marry her? No. What's the research say? Our generation, our kids' parents' generation, met and married high school and college sweethearts. This generation of high school students not doing that. They're meeting and marrying after high school, after college, and in the workplace. So this guy's probably not going to marry who he's having sex with in high school. Our kids want to believe that, oh, I love him, he loves me, oh, we're going to marry. No, you're not. Research doesn't bear that out. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So, is Todd going to marry her? Probably not. So if he's not going to marry her, what's he got to do to her? Break up. Does breaking up hurt boys? The girls all go, no, boys don't care. This is the best generation of boys we've seen. Now, if he was a player, got drunk every weekend, had a new girl every week, that's not a good guy. That's a sperm donor. But he's a good guy. He volunteered, okay? So do you guys think he should break up slow or fast? You know what? You break up any way you want to because you're a good guy. But be kind to her because she's a nice girl. Look at how kind he is. Kind. Yay! Give Todd a hand. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate your help. Uh-oh, what's on here? We did this with the kids today. Hair, skin, DNA, germs, lotion, cologne. Todd, I need another healthy male volunteer. I need another one. Are you with me? 6 partners before marriage. What's going to happen to the tape? It's going to lose its ability to bond. That's what's going on with our kids right now. This is the divorce culture in this nation. When our kids have multiple partners, it leads them to divorce down the road. I don't want that for your kids. I don't want that for me. When I got married 35 years ago, it was forever and ever. I didn't have an STD in high school and I didn't have one in college. I didn't have a pregnancy in high school and I didn't have one in college. But what was I doing the entire time? Giving away my ability to bond to my future husband, and I didn't know it. This research wasn't out in the 70s when I was messing around. This is new research out of Stanford based on the theory of oxytocin. When a woman goes through labor and delivery, your pituitary gland signals your brain to release oxytocin, and it bonds you to your new baby. When you breastfeed your baby, oxytocin's released, you bond to your new baby. When you have sex with a guy in high school and college and beyond, it bonds you to the guy. All the birth control pills in the world didn't change this for me. It just kept me in a cycle of having more and more sex partners, and now I have a divorce. And my divorce is awful because I have wonderful children. Divorce is awful. It doesn't matter how old you are, divorce is awful. And that's why I'm passionate about this message. What happens to your finances when you get a divorce? Cuts them in half. What happens to your friendship circle? Cuts it in half. Not one of Lindsay's dad's friends came to the wedding. Not one. What happens to your family circle? Cuts it in half. Not one of Dave's family came. It broke my heart. You know why? These are my family too at one time. This were my friendship circle too at one time. But because of our divorce, my daughter misses the blessing. What happens to your faith when you get a divorce? You don't think I have that little voice that sits here going, what are you doing talking about healthy relationships? You can't even have. Shut up. Get behind me. But we do what we know until we know better. We can't do better till we know better. And God died for all of this. He died for it all. My sin is as far from the east as the west. Yours is too. Our kids is too. We get to shake that Etch-a-Sketch. We got to try it again and again and again. We can't teach our kids how. You have to be the prefrontal cortex. When Lindsay went to prom, I said, Lindsay, do you want Billy to be your first kiss? She goes, well, Mama, I don't know. I said, well, what are you going to do? She goes, I don't know. I'll figure it out when it happens. I said, yeah, when his face is wrapped around yours, you'll figure it out. Let's figure it out now. So we talked about it. We modeled it. I'll be Billy, you be Lindsay. She goes, Mom, you're so stupid. But I'll tell you what, she came home from prom. How was it, Linda? Oh, Mom, Billy was a good dancer, and I got cold, and Billy put his jacket around me, and Billy's a gentleman, and I won $50 at the after prom party, and I went to get out, and I grabbed the door handle, and Billy went, Lindsay, may I open the door for you? And he walked her to the door, and he hugged her, and he said, thank you, I had a nice time. And on the last day of school at Eaton, they always had the big barbecue on the patio, and you get your yearbooks. And I remember that year, Billy won the state baseball championship, because you know every year Eaton does. But anyway, Eaton, Billy played baseball, and he wrote in big letters at the bottom of Lindsay's yearbook, I had a great time at prom with you. Love, Billy. That's the memory I want my kid to have. I don't want her going to bed in high school going, oh, I didn't want Billy to kiss me like that. I didn't want Billy to kiss me at all. You guys, kisses are precious. I told your kids that today. I said, kisses are precious, and you only get one first kiss, and it's one you're going to remember forever. Guard your kisses. See, kisses lock hearts. Help your kids plan their kisses. Don't be afraid to ask them. Trip that moral meter. When your kids are pulling in the driveway, you be there. And when they come through the house, go, so, what have you been doing in the driveway for the last half an hour? And they'll be like, Mom, Dad. Yeah, I remember when Sam brought some girl home, I wanted to peek through the curtains so bad to watch him. But I didn't. But when he came in, shh. You know what? Our kids have three choices. They tell us the truth, they lie to us, or they change their behavior. But you guys, as long as we believe that we have to be our kids' friends, this doesn't work. You have got to be the parent. You've got to tell your kids no. They'll love you and like you when they're 30. Right now, they just have to respect you and honor you. Don't be afraid to say no. Give kids support for waiting. Applaud them. When they come home on time, applaud them for making curfew. When they come home and they don't smell like drugs, alcohol, or tobacco, applaud them. When they do what they're supposed to do, applaud them. You guys, kids are like puppies. You just throw a ball, they go get it, and they wiggle, and they come back. Throw it again, Mom. Throw it again. Just praise them, fill them up, fill up their hearts. They're like trick ponies. And I'm not saying don't discipline and don't have that's not what I'm saying. But when they do something right, catch them doing it right, and you'll get more of that. Yeah. When you harp and nag, you get more of the gritch. I don't want that in my parenting. I was this kind of parent. When our kids get all three sides to the triangle, our kids can do this, and they are doing this. They are doing it. But they need you to be that active parent.